Okay, I'm going to jump on in. Um, Thank you everyone for joining me this afternoon. My name is Andrea Roberts. I am your LexisNexis Digital Library Consultant. And today we are going to cover all of the features and functionality you have available to you through the Riverside County Law Library's digital library site. Right now, you should be able to view the Riverside County Law Library's homepage. So I do want to point out how you'll be able to access the digital library. The first spot will always be on the law library's website itself. If you click into research, there is an option just for digital library and ebooks. And that page is set up perfectly. As you scroll down, you'll have links to the digital library, a link for assistance if you need help with either your login credentials or getting login credentials. So this will go over all of the basics for the digital library. So when you log in, there are links here to your ebooks. It'll take you to a homepage, and you should see the Riverside County Law Library's digital library site. Now, everyone's homepage will look a little different, and that's because it's unique to each individual user's ID. So it's going to show you your recently read titles up at the top here. It'll show you any of your annotations or tags that you've created. So right now we're viewing my homepage, but again, everyone's will look different based off of their use of the digital library. At the top here on the URL, you're going to see your unique URL. So that is lexisdl.com/library/RC Law Library. If you want to bookmark that website, you'll always be able to jump right into the digital library. So you can either access it again through the law library's homepage or just bookmark this site and you'll always be able to access the homepage. Everything I'm going to show you on the computer, you can do on any mobile device as well. We do have a free digital library app. So you can go to the App Store for Apple devices or the Google Play Store for Android devices and search for LexisNexis Digital Library. That will pull up a free app that you can download. And when you download it, the first time you log in, it's going to ask you for a library code. Your library code is just the end of your URL. So it's just the RC Law Library. It asks that because it needs to know what library you're trying to access. And then you'll sign in just like you would on any other device. So again, you can download the free app and access any of the content I'm showing you from any device that you prefer. Also, the digital library is really set up for the mobile user. So all devices will sync amongst each other, meaning if you start reading a title on your tablet device and the next time you pick it up, you're on your laptop or desktop, all of your notes and highlights, any bookmarks, everything will sync from device to device. So it really makes it easy to quite literally take the digital library on the go with you. On the left-hand side here, you're going to see all of your menu options. So you have your home page, which is what we're staring at. But if you click Browse Library, that's going to take you to a few curated collections that the library staff has put together just to make it easier for you to access the content that's most used or most requested within the library. So the first thing you're going to see is a large California practice collection. It's going to be all of your California titles. Scrolling down, you're going to see your frequently used titles. So these are the most often used within the library. You have a book to action equity collection. So this is going to be some popular reads, as well as audiobooks. And then down below, you'll have a recently added collection. This collection is going to show you, anything new that the library has purchased, as well as any new additions for specific titles as well. So you'll see all of the most recent additions here. At the very, very bottom of this Browse Library page, you should see a red link that says View Full Collection. So if you're ever wondering about everything that's part of the digital library, you can click that button and it's going to take you to an alphabetical listing of every single volume you guys have access to. It defaults to show you this all titles, and that is quite literally all volumes expanded out. So you'll see it expands out each multi-volume set here. You can also see all of the sets grouped together by clicking sets. If there's a specific category, practice area, jurisdiction that you're looking for, you can filter out those results. And you can default to sort by title or release date. So again, if you're ever wondering or curious about everything that's part of the library's collection, you can come in here and view that full collection button and browse through it. Right above that view full collection link, you'll see these hyperlinks by subjects. If you click see all 64 subjects on the right-hand side, that's going to take you to an alphabetical listing by jurisdiction and practice area of all of the content included within your digital library. It's a really easy way to come in here, quickly scroll through and jump right into your bankruptcy specific titles, for example. It automatically narrows your search results based off of the jurisdiction or practice area you select, so you don't have to do that again on the back end. However, up at the top, no matter where you are in the digital library, you'll always have this search bar. That search bar is going to allow you to search by practice area, title, author, subject, whatever it is that you're currently looking for. It's only going to look through title information though, so keep that in mind. It's not looking through any of the actual content of an individual volume, just the title information. If, for instance, I was just looking for all of my forms volumes, I can type in forms and click search, and it's going to bring up all of my forms volumes. Again, this all titles defaults to show you every single volume expanded out. But if you click on sets, it'll show you your sets grouped together. You can also filter again by jurisdiction, practice area, or content type. So you can narrow those results when it pulls up a large number for you. If we wanted to look at just California forms of pleading and practice, because that's a pretty popular one, you have the ability to view the entire set just by clicking on the set image. And what that's going to do is bring up your set link, we call it. So a couple things to point out from this set page. On the left-hand side, you'll see your edition information, your volumes. There is a copy set link. So if you know someone else is looking for this, you can actually send them a link to this page. Down below, you'll see all volumes expanded out. So if you knew you wanted to jump right into volume 1, you can. It'll show you any volumes that you've added notes or highlights to as well. And then up at the top right, you're going to see a table of contents. And because we're looking at a set here, you'll have the ability to look at the table of contents for every volume within that set. So I can quickly jump into any volume, expand out that table of contents, and you'll see each table of contents is hyperlinked. So you can literally scroll through, click on any section, and jump right into it from here. You'll also have the ability to search through the entire set. So you'll see a search list title option on the set page. That would allow you to search for a keyword or a phrase through all volumes within a set. It'll always be available here on a specific set link, but it's also always available on an individual volume. So if I select one of these individual volumes down below, it'll take you to a book details page, and you'll have a lot of the same information that I just pointed out. You'll have a hyperlink table of contents. This one will only show you the table of contents for this specific volume though. On your left-hand side, you'll see your edition information, your release information, how many copies are available. So generally there is one copy of each volume available to borrow at any given time. If that copy is available, you'll see a red read button right here. If someone else has already borrowed that volume, instead of saying read, it'll say place a hold, and you'll be able to place a hold on that. Down below, again, you'll have a copy title link, so you can share a link to this page with anyone. And you'll have the ability to add tags to volumes. I think of tags as quick links to those volumes I'm going to use over and over again. Your tags are unique to your user ID, so no one else will ever see them. We don't touch them at any point. They will be there indefinitely until you delete them or you delete your user ID. If you want to add a tag to a title, You just have to click into it here, and we can put a training tag in. Create. You'll see it adds that tag. And again, now that I've tagged this volume, I can easily access it from both my homepage and my tags at the bottom here. If I scroll back up to the top, just a couple more things to point out. Again, you have your table of contents, links to all volumes within the set. And if any of the volumes have prior releases attached to them, you'll also see a prior releases option. If I click on that, you'll see that it expands out all of my prior releases. So it'll show you the release number, the release date, and there's a blue read button next to it. If I click that, it will open up that release. Generally, our prior releases go back to about 2011 in our system. If you ever need something further back than that, please feel free to reach out to me. A lot of times we have it. It just might not have been added to the digital library at that point. So again, general rule is that prior releases go back to about 2011, but feel free to ask for anything further back. Excuse me. Finally, you'll see a search this title option. Again, you'll see that on the set links, but also on those individual volumes. If you happen to click on an individual volume from a multi-volume set, you'll still have the ability to search through the entire set at one time. If you happen to be looking at a single standalone volume title, rather than it saying all volumes, it'll just say this volume. So no matter which title you happen to click on within the digital library, you'll always be able to run a search for it prior to actually clicking the read button. So if we were looking for housing discrimination, I can type in my search terms, and you'll see on my right-hand side, it's going to pull up all of my search results for those search terms. As I scroll down, you'll see that it highlights and bolds my search terms. It's going to give you a little bit of information where each one pops up. So you'll see it gives you the volume number, the section number. It gives you a little snippet of where they pop up as well, so you can read and see if it's on point with what you're currently looking into. And you'll also have two hyperlinks. The first hyperlink is a share hyperlink. So it's going to allow you to share a link to this specific volume and section with anyone else that has access to this digital library. And then the other link is a go to passage link. That link would allow you to open up that volume and section directly from the screen. So I'm going to click on that. You'll see here, it pulls up and lets you know that you're borrowing this volume. You have a total of 7 days to have it checked out. And when I click borrow, it'll automatically open it up for me. There we go. Excuse me. Sometimes it takes a little second just to drop you to it, but it will drop you right to that section that you clicked on. It'll highlight the section of text that has your search terms in it just to draw your eye to it. But from here, you have a number of options within each volume to use. So down at the bottom, you'll see all of your menu options. And up at the top right, next to your bookmark icon, you'll see these 3 lines. And I want to point those out. You'll notice that this title opens up in a 2-page format, almost like you had the book open on your desk. If you prefer a single page view, if you click on these 3 lines in the top right, you do have a 1-page per screen view. So again, user preference, but you do have that option if you want to change the format. We also give you the keyboard commands. So if there's anyone who likes using keyboard shortcuts, we list them all out for you. Also, if there is anyone that likes utilizing a screen reader or does utilize a screen reader, 99% of the screen readers on the market are compatible with our digital library material. And under keyboard commands, it will walk you through how to utilize a screen reader with our titles. If you need more information or help with that, just reach out to me. I'll be happy to walk you through it. At the bottom, again, you have all of your menu options. At the far right is a settings option. And I want to point this out. You can really customize everything about how you're viewing each and every one of these titles. Everything from the background lighting, if you don't like that bright white background, to the size of the font, the spacing, the type of font, if you don't like the publisher's default. All of this is customizable. And the really nice thing is if you do take the time to customize it, it will remember it for future use. So you won't have to do it each and every time you open up a title. At the far left, you'll see a print icon. You do have the ability to print full sections of this text. You can print a physical copy or print a PDF. You can print an entire chapter or just a few pages. It's completely up to you. If you know you're going to be printing quite a bit, we do suggest using Google Chrome. It gives you the best print options, but any modern browser will work. So Edge, Chromium, Firefox, Safari, again, any modern browser will work with the digital library. The only thing we're not compatible with is Internet Explorer. So if anyone still has a system that somehow defaults to IE, keep that in mind. You will have to open up a new browser in order to access the digital library. Next to the print icon, you'll have a table of contents. Our table of contents is hyperlinked, so it will show you where you currently are within the title. You can run a search through the table of contents, or you can click on any section as you go through, and every section is hyperlinked. So it will just drop you right to that section you click on. You'll also have a find feature. So this feature will work similarly to that search we ran before. However, it's only going to look through the one volume you have open. So again, it's only going to look through this volume, but we can type in a search. And what that's going to do is pull up all of my search results, again, just in this one volume. They're all hyperlinked. So as I scroll through, you'll see each section is hyperlinked. I can click on any section and it will drop me right to it. It'll highlight my search terms just to draw my eye to it. And you'll see up at the top here, it's going to give you an option to scroll through each of those search results. So I can use the arrow keys just to go from result to result, or I can click show all and it will pull up that list again for me. Probably our most used feature within the digital library is the ability to highlight and annotate any one of these volumes. All of your notes and highlights are unique to your user ID, so no one else will ever see them. We don't touch them at any point. They will be there indefinitely until you delete them or you delete your user ID. They're always available to you from multiple spots within the digital library. So there's a couple different ways you can add notes and highlights. The first is if you're just maybe planning on adding one or two throughout the text. All you have to do is click and drag your cursor. And when you release your cursor, a few options pop up. The first is add annotation. And when you click on that, it pulls up this little, excuse me, text box. It defaults to that bright yellow highlighting color, but you can choose any number of colors right from here. And you can add a note. So if we wanted to add a note for this section, I can type that in. There's not a limit to the number of notes you can add. And then all I have to do is click done. And you'll see that it added the highlight, and it's probably really small on your screens, but this little red sticky note icon just delineates that there's also an annotation attached to that highlight. Again, that's if you're just going to add one or two notes and highlights as you go through. If you know that you plan on adding quite a few notes and highlights, you can actually set that feature live just by clicking on the highlight button down below. When I do, it'll pull up my highlighting colors. Again, it defaults to that bright yellow, but I can choose any color from this list. And now as I go through, all I have to do is click and drag my cursor. When I release, it automatically highlights that text. It automatically brings up this text box as well. I can add any notes right from here. And then I also have a few additional options. So I have a copy passage link. That would allow me to share a link to this section of text with anyone else who has access to this digital library. I also have a copy with citation option. That would allow me to copy this section of text to a clipboard. And when I paste it into a Word document or an email, it's going to include the citation as well. There's also a find feature. So if I highlight a search term or phrase, it will search for other instances of it within this text. And define will do just that. It will pull up the definition of whatever phrase or term I highlighted. As I scroll through, again, I can easily add notes and highlights just by clicking and dragging my cursor. I can also easily change highlighting colors. So if I like to use different highlights for different issues that I might be working on, I can quickly change the highlighting color as we go, add whatever notes I want. And then when I'm done with that feature, so if I'm done highlighting, all I have to do is click the highlight button down below, and it will deactivate that feature for me. Any questions so far on notes and highlights? Okay. I did mention that notes and highlights are always available to you in multiple spots within the digital library. The first spot is always going to be when you are in the title itself. The annotations option, you'll see this right here, is going to allow you to open up all of the notes and highlights you've added to this particular volume. You'll notice down below, it'll show you what you've highlighted, what notes you've added, what color you highlighted it in. If I've added quite a few notes and highlights, I can actually run a search for a keyword or a phrase through my notes and highlights. I can narrow by highlighting color on the right-hand side. Ooh, I can edit and delete my notes and highlights right from here. And if I like to have a hard copy of those notes and highlights, I can print a hard copy or print a PDF right from here as well. So multiple ways to access your notes and highlights while you're inside the text itself. Any questions on notes and highlights? Okay, just a couple other things to point out when you're inside one of our texts. You'll notice quite a few hyperlinks. Anything you see hyperlinked in blue will just link you within this one volume. Anything you see hyperlinked in green, those are going to be your cases and codes. Those would link you out to that case or code on Lexis Advance or Lexis Plus, depending on what you have access to. If you're inside the library itself and you're using the digital library, it usually will link you into a patron access account. However, if you do have your own Lexis Advance or Lexis Plus ID, and you click on one of these citations, it will open up just a new browser tab. If you haven't signed into your Lexis account recently, it'll ask you to sign in. And then it will just drop you directly to that case or code that you clicked on. So it makes it really easy to go from your treatise content directly to the cited material within without having to run an additional search. If you don't have your own Lexis ID, you'll have to reach out to your library staff if you need access to any of those cited references or cited materials. If you're accessing the digital library offsite and you don't have your own Lexis ID. Any questions about any of the features and functionality that we covered so far? Okay, I'm going to click out of this title, just click the X at the top left corner. And when I do, that just brings me right back to where we started, which were those search results. I can jump into another one right from here, or if I'm all done, I can click close and exit out of here. Couple things to point out. If we go back to my home page, you notice that it's been updated with my most recently read item, those notes I added, as well as the tag that I created for this training. Under my books, I wanted to point out a couple things here. This is a running list of everything you've ever borrowed within the digital library. It's just a longer list than what we can keep on the homepage. So if you're ever looking for something that you might have borrowed, a year or two ago, you just have to scroll down or search for it. We do keep it easily accessible here. Also, you do have the ability to borrow titles for up to 7 days. And you'll see when you're in the My Books section, there's a little clock icon to the right. That clock icon will let you know that you have this title until the specific date. However, if you're done with it, you can return it early. That'll just put it right back into circulation. So if you're done with it, just click return. It'll automatically go back into circulation. And that way, if someone has placed a hold on it, they'll immediately receive a notice saying it's available for them. And I wanted to do this just so I can show you what it looks like if a title's already been checked out. As I mentioned, if a title has been checked out, rather than saying read, it'll say place a hold. So you do have the ability to place a hold on titles that you need. All you have to do is put your email address in. I'll do that here. And click place a hold. And when I do, it'll automatically add that hold for it. Oops, of course, trying to place a hold on something I just borrowed. But it'll place a hold. And then once that title becomes available, you'll receive an email letting you know to log into your digital library to borrow that volume. Any questions on holds? Okay. Scrolling down here, you'll see on the left-hand side, you do have your tag section. Again, your tags are unique to your user ID, so you can create as many as you want. But if you want to jump into all of your tags or any tag that you've created, you can come in here and just click on the tag itself, and it will show you which volumes you've tagged it with. Finally, My Annotations is going to show you all of the notes and highlights you've added on each individual volume within the digital library. All you have to do is click View Annotations. It's going to pull up the list of all of the annotations and highlights that you've created. It'll show you what color you highlighted them in, what you highlighted, any notes you've added. It will give you the citation and release information. And from here, there's a few different things you can do. I'm going to select all of them really quick. And when I do, you'll see that I have an actions option. I always have the ability to copy and paste. So if all I want to do is copy and paste my notes and highlights, I can. However, if I click add to export queue, you'll see that it adds it to my queue. And what's really neat about this feature is that I have the ability to add multiple notes and highlights from multiple volumes to my queue. So I can come into a few others here, select them. We'll add that to my queue as well. And if I'm working on a project, for instance, I can continuously add notes and highlights to my queue. We don't remove things from your queue at any point, so you can continuously add to it. And when I do, and I go into my queue, you'll see that it adds all of those notes and highlights. Again, it just shows you what you highlighted, any notes you've added, it gives you the citation. And what's really nice is that there's a find feature. So if I've added quite a few notes and highlights here, I can actually run a search for a keyword or phrase, and it will let me search through all of those notes and highlights. I can also narrow by highlighting color on the right-hand side. So if I know that there's just a specific color I've highlighted an issue in, I have the ability to automatically narrow these results. And when I'm ready to download my notes and highlights, I can select individual notes and highlights or all of them. And you'll see at the bottom of the screen, it pulls up a few options. So again, I can always copy and paste. But if I click export, that's where my additional options pop up. I have the ability to download to a Google Drive account, a PDF, a CSV Excel file. So we do give you more options than copy and paste when it comes to downloading and organizing your notes and highlights. When you're done downloading, you can remove your notes and highlights from the queue if you want, or if you're still working on a project, feel free to leave them in here. Again, we don't ever touch your notes and highlights, so we won't remove them from your queue at any point. You can continuously add to this if you're working on a project. Otherwise, if you're done, click remove. It'll automatically clear out the queue for you. It doesn't remove your annotations though. Those will still always be here within each volume. And if you do want to go in and delete them, you can come in and actually delete them from here as well. So you do have that option. It just removing them from the queue doesn't delete them from the volume itself. Those are the primary features of the digital library. Does anyone have any questions for me? We have a chat here. Yes. Okay. So the question is only one queue per ID. Yes. So you'll only have this one export queue at a time. So if you're trying to, queue up multiple, say, projects that you're working on, it's only going to allow you to do it one at a time. Any other questions when it comes to the digital library? Okay. If you guys do start using it or you come across any questions or need help with anything, you can always reach out to your library staff. They'll be more than welcome to send you my way if you have any questions. My name again is Andrea Roberts. My email is andrea.roberts@lexisnexis.com. And thank you again so much for joining me. It's been, really great. I think, oh, good. Michael from your library has just put in to the chat the specific link that takes you to the digital library page within the law library site. So if you guys need it, you can quickly click on it here. This has been recorded, so if you need to come back to it, the law library will have access to this recording. And again, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.